Hello and good morning and welcome to Virtual Coffee. I'm Cheryl Leong from the Growth Hub. How are we all doing this morning? Oh, I had a bit of excitement this morning. I turned on my computer and I was about to go live. Uh, and then I realized everything had sort of not short circuited, something had tripped. So I had to give my husband a call. Where is the fuse box? Oh my goodness. Either way, got it all sorted. We are here today, which I've forgotten my coffee because the kettle had tripped as well. So it's going to be fresh air. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here this morning. I hope you've got your beverage of choice and you are here to get a little bit of a caffeine hit for your business. What we're going to be talking about today is about when is the right time to consider outsourcing for your business. So obviously we're a little bit biased here at the Growth Hub because we do see the huge amount of value and um, and the life-changing effects that being able to delegate and outsource tasks, um, how it impacts businesses. So I'm just looking, and if anyone's here joining us today, please put in the comments below. I'd love to be able to say hello to you all as well. And any particular questions that you have about outsourcing or delegating, systemizing, automation, pop them in the comments below. This is sort of an opportunity for you to also ask questions. So one of the first things there are four things that I like to look at when we're doing and when we're considering whether outsourcing is right for your business. Number one thing is to really understand what is it that your business needs more of. So I often ask, one of the first questions I ask business owners is, what are the biggest problems in your business now? Is it the problem that you're not getting enough leads, or you don't have enough time, or is it a combination of both? And so I just have to excuse the vacuuming in the background because my parents have moved in and they don't really have an idea of timing of when to be cleaning. So, but that's good. We'll have a clean home. So what it is, we look at whether your pain point is leads, time, or is it a combination of both? So we'll start off with leads. If your pain point is leads, it really is indicating to me more often than not that we need to really amp up our marketing efforts. Right? We need to be able to get people to have eyes on either you or your brand. In this day and age, it's very much about personal brand. So you need to look at marketing and whether it is something that you feel that you are the expert to do. And if you're not the expert of doing it, then we need to look at whether we need to have this done by someone who is. And so, in terms of outsourcing it or getting someone, a marketing company, to look at your marketing efforts, your strategy, come up with a plan, and possibly even implement it for you if you don't have the time to be able to implement it yourself. And if you do have the time to be able to implement it yourself, there's so many courses out there that you can take on and be able to start to implement. But again, you need to be able to look at your time and where you're spending it as to whether it is the best use of your time to be able to be spending on things that you may or may not be fantastic at. If you're an absolute marketing guru, you love all the design stuff, you love putting up content, and it's really content that engages with people, then go ahead. But you will get to a point where you've got to look at where your time is best spent, which we will cover in the next few points. So number one, really identify whether it's a lead problem or a time problem. All right, lead problem, we've talked about marketing. There are also other ways that you can generate leads through outreach, whether it's through Facebook and whether it's through LinkedIn. or other sorts of social media platforms that you are doing. So that if, and it could be, say, even with connection requests, is that something that you need to do, or are those functions things that you can put a process into place, some SOPs, and someone can be trained and be able to do that. So that's another point where you sort of go, what are all the marketing efforts that I need to be able to take to be able to get more of myself out there, right? So that's leads. Be really keen to understand, like, what are the different marketing channels that you're undertaking, and have a think about whether you need to be the person that's doing it. The second thing is then looking at, if it's time that's your your biggest pain point, then looking at how, one, you can systemize what you are doing. Two, once you're able to systemize what you're doing, whether someone else can be trained to do it. And then three, whether that person can then be also responsible for creating more systems and processes as well. So the time is a big one, where we're needing to weigh up what is in our business and the functions that we're doing of high value and low value. So I'm going to do my little graphy thing here. Where is my little whiteboard? Share screen, and oh, there we are. Here we go. In my little whiteboard. Okie dokie. So we create this quadrant, which I really love to call the high-low value quadrant and the high-low skill quadrant. So this is value, which equates to, say, a dollar amount, and then it's skill, and I'll just say skill or passion, which I'll put as a little love heart. So this is low and high, and then it's low and high here. Alrighty. So what this means, these are the functions that bring you most of your money. It's the money makers, right? And so this is where's my little pen gone? So if you've got something that's of high value and it's of value, and let's say that's skill. High value and high skill, typically this is something that you need to be continuing to do. If this is something of low value and high skill, so this might be something like design, it might be video editing, it might be, yeah, sort of the things where you sort of go, I don't have the skill to do, or the passion to do, skill or passion, then these are things where you probably need to look at delegating. Delegate, and I'm just going to put a D. It's really tricky to write with a mouse, even though it looks like a pen. So you need to look at possibly delegating that. If it's something that's of high value, we're in the low value and low skill, again, you need to look at either delegating that or outsourcing it. And why is that? Because, or possibly even stopping what you're doing, because you need to look at everything that you're doing having some sort of return on investment. And then if it's something that's high value and low skill, again, the question around if it's high value but still needs to be done. So that might be, the high value might be actually posting on social media. So scheduling and all of that, it's high value because it gets you out there, but low skill in terms of, well, you can actually have someone, well, when I say low skill, it's also low passion. You might not really be like to be the one that's actually scheduling it out. That again can be delegated. So when we look at these four quadrants and you look at where you need to be doing the things, that's when you need to be able to assess where your business is at and then plonk them into, you look at all your tasks. So do a task, what we call a task review, a little bit of a task audit. Looking at all the functions in your business and all the tasks in your business and break them up into one of these four. And sometimes it might be a little bit tricky because you sort of go, well, I really enjoy doing the graphics for my business and things like that. It needs to come down to whether these are high value tasks. And yes, the graphics may be something that's really great for your brand awareness. However, we also need to be able to break it up into the four. I'm sure there's a typing. Oh, there we are. I'm sure there's a typing thing that we can use. To admin, we need to break it up into four. So to admin, we need to break it up into work, break it up into management, and into strategy. So the second point, once we've broken up into these four quadrants and identify where you should be spending your time, another way to assess this is what we call this value creation model. So I didn't come up with this, but I have found it to be a very, very helpful exercise. So what this means is, for example, if you break up your business into all your tasks into four segments of admin, and this might be the actual work proportion of doing it, so the actual client fulfillment, management of actually managing people, spending your time managing people, and this might end up being $2,000, right? So we've just given these sort of theoretical values. What these values are, and this is the third point, understanding where your high value is. So the high value in your quadrant. As you can see here, this is where the high value tasks are. What these values actually indicate is basically a value which the task of this converts to income, to revenue into your business. So in terms of admin, say for example, it's email management, it's calendar management. They need to be done, but really, are they converting to revenue? Do they have a direct impact in the revenue into your business? Probably not so. Yes, work definitely does. However, you have to look at whether you need to be the one that's doing it once you have processes in place. Again, we as business owners start up businesses to be doing the things that we're passionate about. However, to be able to take your business to the next level is also being able to step away from it and create the level of freedom that you started your business for. So working and doing the actual client fulfillment, yes, we all have to do it at some point in our business, particularly if it's at the start of the business life cycle, we need to be doing it. Then we get to a point where we build teams to be able to help us move from the actual person doing it to management of a team that actually does it. So I'm just going to share this. Excellent. So if you look at these values again, and say, for example, your goal is $1 million in revenue this year, right? And we break it up into the number of workable days, right? Minus, it's usually about 365 minus holidays and so on and so forth. Some people work more, some people work less. And so you just break it up. So you can work out in your calendar how much it is that you're wanting to make in revenue this year, and then calculate how many workable days are in that calendar year. We've just used 200 because it's sort of, works out to be a round number, and it's easy for me to calculate as well. So then what does that mean? It means that each day we need to have $5,000 in revenue coming in. So in terms of where we're spending our time, what this allows us to see is that where we need to be spending our time on to be able to get $5,000 in revenue each day. And using the breakdown that we've created here, so say for example, if we're spending time on strategy, each hour that we're spending on strategy converts to say $2,000. All right, we've put a bit of a theoretical number here, but it's for the purposes of this exercise, we've put a number there. So what you want to be able to look at is in your day where you're spending your time to be able to generate that $5,000 a day. And it could be within your 8 hours, you're spending, half an hour on strategy a day. And then it could be another 2 hours on management. And then at the moment, it could be 5 hours on work. Whoopsie. And maybe 1 hour on admin. It's all happening at the Cheryl Leong household today. So then you calculate and you can see where you are $1,000 plus management, which might be say another $1,000 plus work. So we're doing 5 hours of work. So that's another $1,000 and plus an hour on admin, which is $10. So we can look at that figure and now see whether we are closer to where we need to be in terms of our revenue and where we're spending our time. So this ends up being 3,010. So we then need to either look at whether we should be spending more time on strategic side of things and management, which is the high value task, or should we be spending more time on the admin and the work side of things? So this is a really great tool where we're going through these steps. One, to identify where our, step one was to identify where our pain points are. And if it's time, leads in time, and then be able to break down those tasks into our high and low value quadrant. That's step 2. And then step 3, it's working out where your value creation is happening in your business, and assess and have a really, really honest assessment of, are you spending time in your business or on your business? So in your business is where, where's my I had a little thing that does, in your business is when you're spending time on admin and work. Working on your business is when you're spending time doing the actual management and strategic side of things. If you're earning good money, doing work, that's fantastic. And that's amazing. So look at then, how much of your time you can be freeing up to do less admin so you can spend that time doing work-related tasks or management tasks or strategic tasks. Any questions, comments, please put them in the box below. I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts and whether that makes sense or you've got questions there. And then the fourth thing is on when to work out when's the right time to consider outsourcing is if you do have at least some process in place and a good amount of revenue coming in. And when I say good amount of revenue, it's more so a revenue and a time factor. So once you're able to afford to pay yourself, then look at how you can then build your business. Um, I think a lot of us get into this notion of I'm just going to keep growing and growing and growing, growing as much as I can myself until the point where I'm like, I'm stuck. And if you're at the point where you're feeling stuck and you're not able to move forward, nor are you able to move sideways or anything else because you're the only one doing it, then that usually indicates to me that you're ready to outsource. And particularly if you have some cash flow that's being able to pay you to begin with, and then be able to spend on building a team around you, then outsourcing is a really logical choice for you. Whether it's outsourcing in-house or outsourcing, freelance or getting other specialists or consultants, it really is looking at where you're spending your time and where able to bring the best amount of value to your business. And then looking at that value creation model and assessing whether each and every day, everything that you're doing, whether you are working in the business or you're working on the business. I hope that that's been really helpful for you. I'd love to hear your feedback as to whether that was helpful and you assessing where your business is at and being able to assess the type, the types of high value, low value tasks that you're doing. We haven't gone into the task individually because each and every business is different. However, examples like, email management, calendar management, um, graphic design, like, the things that you need in your business, but you need to ask yourself honestly whether you need to be the person that's doing it. And if not, then feel free to reach out. Let's have a chat to see whether outsourcing is the right solution for you, and how it's going to be able to bring some huge value and life changing results into your business. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week with my actual coffee as well, because I'm feeling like I really need a kick. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week on Virtual Coffee. Bye bye.